don't know where I'm going.
I feel like we should start over.
Let's start again. So guys, on today's video, I'm joined by Raya, obviously.
Okay.
And last week she uploaded a video about flying more sustainably. And she's currently working on a video about offsetting your carbon footprint when it comes to flying. Now, this is something that I need to take a lot more seriously. Obviously, I've done a lot of flying in my lifetime, especially the last 5 years. And Raya's challenged me to look at the carbon I've generated whilst flying and seeing if there's ways to offset that. Now, we're all producing a carbon footprint, no matter what we're doing. It's not just transport and flying, but it's like everything we consume. We need to be, as a planet, moving towards more sustainable ways of living. So yeah, today we're just gonna look at that and see if there's some steps that we can do towards paying back the amount of carbon we've used, the damage that we've done to the planet. And I think if all of us just look for ways that we can take steps towards doing that, that's going to be incredible. A lot of you may say, well, just stop flying entirely. That's not plausible for our current jobs, but we are both urgently looking for ways to reduce the amount we fly. The last few years, I've been flying less and less and less. I don't currently own a vehicle. I'm looking at land transportation. I'm about to put an electric engine in my camper van, road tripping places rather than flying. Anyway, there's loads to it, but I understand the ideal situation is that there's some better mode of long distance travel to travel around the world.
So what I talked about in my video is I think traveling is one of the best ways to open up your mind and heart to other people, and I definitely think it's helped me like grow an empathy for others and for a lot of people as well. I think if everyone stopped traveling and just stayed in their own bubble in their own country and mainly only hung out with people who looked and talked and lived like them, I think the world would actually end up in a worse place than it is now, because yeah, people just wouldn't be as open-minded if they weren't like meeting people from different cultures, which obviously you can do in your hometown as well if you happen to live somewhere that's more diverse, but not everyone is. And also I just wanted to say carbon offsetting isn't like a solution to the problem, it's kind of more like a band-aid. So at the core of it, we should all be reducing how much we travel, whether that's flying, obviously for us that's a big one, but if you are commuting to work every day and you're driving alone in a car, maybe you could start carpooling or taking public transport. Like, we all have different ways to look at what we're doing, and we've both cut down our flying a lot and continuing to do so, and we both turned down free trips, paid trips. We're really like trying to think about this and be as smart as we can, but for right now, for both of us, the answer isn't to stop flying altogether, and this is one good way to at least offset the flights that you do have to do. We
were just saying before this, like when we've both started traveling regularly and doing this for our work and making videos, this wasn't even a thing that was talked about. Like, the world is becoming more aware, more conscious, and also for both of us, we both want to move towards that in the content we're making as well. Raya's been doing it. I've been trying to find my way and what really makes me excited to make content around. And it does still involve travel, but I think it's also about like, how can we be more conscious in our lives? How can we make decisions to be better to the planet, one another, more harmonious with everything around us, rather than being this destructive parasite to the planet? Whereas I believe we can live in this beautiful harmony.
You just mentioned that this just, wasn't a topic, it wasn't a discussion years ago when we started traveling like this, and it's so interesting that it seems like every year there's like another big thing that comes into the limelight, which is amazing, but I think it's so important for us not to beat ourselves up over what we didn't know in the past, you know, like forgive yourself for what you didn't know and learn from it instead.
Life's constantly this evolving, like learning process for all of us. And I know there's other things you could point out in our lives that are like, yeah, but what about this and what about that? Like, we know, honestly, like there's so many things in my life I want to slowly start looking at, and my consumerism and where, you know, the supply chains of everything that I consume in my life. But this is one thing we're talking about today.
Yeah, okay? This video isn't like the only thing you should ever do that's good for the planet. This is one tiny thing for you to do. Please, can we all get on this new wavelength of celebrating people taking steps towards being more conscious and environmentally friendly? Because I've seen so many people saying, you know, I want to do this one thing and like make this one change, and then people beat them up over every other change they haven't made yet, or saying like, oh, why haven't you done this yet? And that is what makes people like back up and like, oh, I don't want to do it, never mind. So can we please just celebrate every step that people take?
So what we're gonna do, Raya found this website where you can log in. I mean, do you want to talk about it? I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, so it's called TerraPass, and it's really good. They have a carbon calculator, which by the way goes beyond flying. You can look at the different ways that you travel. So if you go into individual calendar, you can look at vehicle, public transport, air travel, and also home energy as well. On this website, you can offset your carbon straight from the website, but there are different ways that you can do it.
This isn't sponsored, by the way. We don't. No, we're not getting paid to do this.
Although it'd be a cool brand deal, so you can reach out. The way this calculator works, you can just go buy specific flights, and you can do like round trip. Let's just say an example, LAX, so Los Angeles to New York, and then you go next, and that's about $16. So you can see it's not crazy like this. If you're paying like a few $100s for this flight, just to add another $16 doesn't add too much to you. So I think all of you would be able to afford to do this. It's not that much. But there's different ways that you can offset your carbon, and one of the ways is to like purchase the offsetting flights from these websites. Another way is to plant trees. And I'm actually currently doing a fundraiser to plant 10,000 trees, and so part of my challenge to Louis was for him to donate all of his carbon offsetting onto that, because $1 plants one tree. So with what number you might get, I think we'll make a big difference.
Well, I've got this app.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so firstly guys, Raya has been making loads of videos this month as part of her 30 Days of Kindness, and this whole month she's been fundraising for One Tree Planted, which is this amazing charity, and I just think it's so cool to be able to join together in forces and do good things in the world and raise money for good things. So I've got this app on my phone called App in the Air, and it's taken all of my commercial flights I've done over the last 5 years. These are all the flights. You can kind of see all these flights all around the world that I've taken. It's pretty mad actually looking at a map like that. And then underneath here there's like the years. So 2015 I took 112 flights, 2016 88, 62, 65, and this year so far I've done 48 flights. So as you can see, I'm reducing the amount of travel I'm doing. For the last 3 years I haven't offset any of my flights. I know that's super bad. I've been meaning to, I really have, and honestly, I think this is kind of perfect timing that Raya's doing this, and this is the opportunity for me to actually offset my flights. So we've calculated for the last 3 years.
That is 458,290.
It's almost 500,000 miles in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use this opportunity to say this is excluding the round the world flight I did with JP in the single engine Cessna. But from JP's calculations, the entire 3-month trip that we did in the Cessna, and I can't even remember how many miles we did, like 26,000 miles or something, it was the same as, it was less actually than one commercial airline flight, because it's such a small plane. But all of my commercial flights over the last 3 years amounted to 500 and almost
400, yeah, 458. Anyway.
Okay.
Let's see for you by number of miles traveled. And it is a little bit more complicated as well, because you have to break it down by short, medium, and long flights, which obviously you don't know those exact numbers.
This is a rough calculation.
Yeah, very rough, but it should get the job done. Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Moment of truth.
Okay, so I used 470,854 pounds of carbon dioxide, and that equates to $2,349. And does that equate to 2,349 trees?
Yes, it does.
For the fundraiser I set up, every dollar donated counts to one tree planted. That means $2,349 means 2,349 trees that are going to be planted. So I'm going to donate 2,349 trees to the campaign.
Thank you.
And if you guys, this is what I would suggest, just maybe the last flight you did. So just think, what's the last flight you did? And if you could go onto this site or another site, calculate that amount and donate that towards Raya's campaign, I think we could really quickly hit the target. And I'm just excited to be a part of this. Like we said earlier, this is just small steps at a time, guys. So celebrate every little step. This wasn't a very little step. This is quite a big one for me, but
yeah.
It's
for all of you, if you could just do your last flight, as I showed you earlier, it can be super accessible, and for most of you it's probably going to be less than $20, but obviously to plant 20 trees will make a huge difference. So anything helps. Thank you so much.
And you don't even need to click off this page. You literally, because it's an attached fundraiser, I think if you're on a mobile, it's literally right below, or if you're on a desktop, it could be on the side. Anyway, it's
Just
somewhere it's somewhere really
video.
close. You can click it, and literally every dollar helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to be supporting Raya with this, and yeah, I'm excited for the rest of your videos that are coming out.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing a whole video on carbon offsetting as well. I go a lot more into it, and I'll be doing my own flights as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, I'll link her channel here, and I just want to say from a personal level, like, you've really inspired me to be more sustainable and look at my life more and the ways I can be a better person in every way, what I'm consuming and what I'm eating and everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you. Cool.
All right.
So go and subscribe to Raya, check out her videos, and make sure that you offset your last flight. See you next time.
Bye.
Peace. Is that good?
Yeah. Is this too much money?
No, it's okay.
But thankfully, you are actually offsetting your flights, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing.